Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is a perhaps controversial video on why HTC will not release a Vive competitor to the Oculus Quest 2. Oculus Quest 2 is an affordable, accessible virtual reality headset, a standalone headset that doesn't require a gaming PC to run, but can be plugged into a gaming PC in order to play PC VR games, but also has enough power under the hood to deliver a satisfying experience with a number of PC VR style games in a standalone headset setup. For example, Super Hot VR is available in there, Gorn. Other VR games that I've played on Steam VR are available within the Quest 2, and yet it's priced at a really affordable and reasonable price, and it makes it very appealing for a number of different reasons. Meanwhile, HTC has just released the Vive Pro 2, which is a high-end PC VR gaming headset, an expensive device that the entire package of which will set you back just around $1,500 or just under, and it's an expensive bit of kit. Even if you just buy the headset on its own, you're looking at nearly $700, 600 and so pounds. It's not cheap, but it delivers the very best of VR experience that money can buy at the moment, with an incredible pixel density and really high specifications, with a best-in-class display, 120 degrees field of view, 120 Hz refresh rate, incredible visuals, a great aesthetic, really good build quality, excellent comfort, and a lot more, but it does come at a price. Now, HTC does have a Quest 2 competitor in the form of the Vive Focus 3. You can see that here, and that headset is working with Qualcomm's Snapdragon processor to deliver standalone virtual reality with a display that's exactly the same as the one on the Vive Pro 2, and yet offers the freedom of not being tied to a PC. However, that is a business headset, and it's not designed to go to the consumer market, and it's also not affordable in the same way as the Quest 2. Now, when I talked to HTC about this and asked the question why they weren't doing a Quest 2 competitor when they released the Vive Pro 2, the answer was simple. They said that they couldn't really release a headset that would compete with Oculus Quest 2 in terms of pricing, while also maintaining a stringent use of your data. So data is very important to the end user in HTC's mind, and therefore they want to make sure that data is secure and not shared. Oculus doesn't necessarily have that same visual, and the end user is treated as an asset and a valuable one at that point. And therefore, the cost of an Oculus Quest competitor would be so large that people would be put off from buying it if they were to solely be buying a product as a hardware level and nothing else. With the Oculus Quest 2, when you buy that headset, you then have to log into Facebook and you have to set up your profile in order to attach to that ecosystem, and that is now a requirement of ownership of the Oculus Quest 2 and of the Rift S going forward, and it's a gripe for many people and something that people aren't willing to share. When you do that, you're giving your data to Facebook, and it allows them then to be able to advertise things to you and monetize you and sell you things. So it means that they can sell a product at a loss, the hardware, but then make their money back through sales and advertising and other data. You could be very cynical about this and paranoid about it, but even at a basic level, it's basically advertising and marketing and making money off you in that way. This is how they can sell this headset, which is a fantastic device, at an affordable price point. It's really unfortunate because the Oculus Quest 2 is a great headset. It's really accessible. It's also very powerful. They're improving it in a number of different ways with regular software updates. For example, you can not only plug this headset in using a USB-C Oculus Link cable and then play PC VR games, but in the near future, they're releasing an update which will allow you to do that wirelessly as well, so you'll be able to play Oculus PC VR games like through Steam VR or Oculus Store on that headset without needing to plug into a PC. So you'll be able to play wirelessly as long as you have a good enough router and a good enough system. I'm hoping to do a video on that in the near future, but basically that means that you can capitalize on the freedom of wireless VR while also not having to spend the earth on a wireless adapter and having a really accessible headset that you can also use in other rooms. You can see me, for example, playing here in my living room, and it's really easy to be able to do that and still have a great experience with the standard Oculus games, but you can also connect to your PC and play more games with ease. The Oculus Quest 2 is therefore incredibly appealing and a really nice headset. So it's a real shame to see HTC say that they can't release a direct competitor to that, but it makes a lot of sense. The reason why they said if they were to release something a similar specification with the Vive Focus 3, for example, and I'll leave information on that in the description, then the cost would be somewhere in the region of £800 or $800, and therefore it'd be twice as much, if not more, than the Oculus Quest 2, which might be unappealing to some, but HTC doesn't want to sell your data. So instead they've released the Vive Pro 2, which requires a lot more hardware in order to run properly and get the best possible experience. And that's a real shame because it will put off many people, and it means it's not as accessible as the Oculus Quest 2 to most users, unless you're a serious PC gamer with a really beefy PC, high-end specification GPU, decent amount of processing power. Then you're not necessarily going to want to purchase that headset, and therefore the market isn't as broad and HTC's reach isn't as good as it could be, which is a real shame. I really was hoping for an Oculus Quest competitor from HTC, but it looks like there isn't going to be one for consumers anywhere in the near future. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful. Let me know in the comments if you would be willing to pay a lot more than the Oculus Quest 2 price in order to get a HTC tether-free wireless virtual reality headset that offers really good visuals but a larger cost. Would you be willing to pay more? Would you be willing to sacrifice your data to HTC? Or do you like the idea of being private data but paying a bit more premium for that? Let me know in the comments what you think. I personally would, and I'd love to see a PC VR headset that was wireless from HTC. Thanks for watching. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful, interesting, hilarious, or otherwise. Take a look at these other videos that I think you might find interesting as well. And have a look at the description for links and other information you might find useful. Click that join button to see the benefits of being a member of my YouTube channel. And most importantly, have a great life.